A grainy Polaroid. The image, burned onto the minds of investigators and the public, shows a teenage girl bound in a van, her face etched with fear, beside a boy whose wide eyes seem to plead for help. For 36 years, this photo was the only clue that survived the relentless passage of time in the mysterious disappearance of Tara Calico. Was it really her in that picture? Or had the world been chasing a cruel hoax? Now, in September 2024, the Valencia County Sheriff's Office announces a breakthrough that promises to unravel the most haunting missing person case in New Mexico's history. And it all begins with this photograph. Let's journey through the decades. This is the full story of Tara Calico, Route 47, and the photo that tormented investigators and families alike. We'll reveal how AI facial recognition finally identified the boy in the infamous Polaroid, trace the new suspect linked to Tara's bike path, and unpack why the sheriff now says, "We have the evidence to move forward." This isn't just about solving a mystery, it's about giving Tara Calico back her voice, after all these years. It began with a morning ride. On September 20th, 1988, Tara Calico, just 19 years old, pedaled her pink bike down Route 47, winding past cotton fields and quiet dirt roads in Valencia County, New Mexico. She was a bright, ambitious student, known for her infectious smile and love of tennis. She told her mother to come looking for her if she wasn't home by noon. But Tara never returned. Her worried mother searched the route, and soon police found the only clues: a shattered Sony Walkman and a cassette tape lying on the dusty roadside just 1.5 miles from home. There was no sign of a struggle, no witnesses, just an empty road and a van that had reportedly sped past other witnesses that morning. The van, sometimes described as white, sometimes as a dirty pickup, became the first phantom in a case defined by shadows and uncertainty. Months passed with no answers. Then, in June 1989, a shopper in Port St. Joe, Florida, made a discovery that would rivet the nation. There, in a convenience store parking lot, lay a Polaroid photo, a bound teenage girl with duct tape over her mouth, beside a young boy in the bed of a truck. The photo was chilling, raw, and seemingly accidental. Police sent the image to the FBI. Tara's mother, Patty, was sure it was her daughter. The scar on the girl's leg matched Tara's. The cassette tape in the photo resembled the one found on the roadside. But the boy in the photo was a mystery. Was he another kidnapped victim? Was this a sick joke or evidence of a larger crime ring operating far beyond New Mexico? The FBI analyzed the photo for years, but the boy's identity stubbornly refused to surface. Rumors and theories swirled. Some believed it was a hoax. Others feared a serial kidnapper was at work. The Polaroid became an icon of unsolved mysteries, featured on television, dissected by amateur sleuths, and held by Tara's mother until her death in 2006. Through the years, detectives chased every possible lead. Over 50 suspects were investigated. Tara's Walkman was traced to a convicted sex offender, but he was later cleared. Anonymous tipsters called in claiming to be the boy in the Polaroid. DNA analysis always came up short. The case grew colder and colder, but the community never forgot. Tara's father, John Calico, spent decades searching, refusing to let his daughter's memory fade into obscurity. Then, in June 2023, the Valencia County Sheriff's Office announced a significant development. Sheriff Denise Vigil stated there was now sufficient evidence to submit the case to the district attorney's office for potential charges. But the identities of the persons of interest remained sealed by court order to protect the investigation's integrity. Hopes rose and fell as the months ticked by. The Polaroid remained unsolved. Everything changed in August 2024. A deputy leaked internal documents naming a new suspect, a local man who had lived near Tara's bike route and died in 2020. The sheriff's office quickly confirmed the leak as credible. Suddenly, a cold case was warming up, but the real breakthrough arrived in September 2024. At a widely watched press conference, the sheriff's office revealed that AI facial recognition software had finally cracked the code. By aging the boy's features and cross-referencing thousands of missing children databases, investigators matched him to Michael Henley, a 15-year-old who vanished from California in 1988, the same year as Tara. Michael's remains were found in 1990, but his parents, for reasons unknown, never filed a missing persons report. The revelation was stunning. The boy in the Polaroid was Michael Henley. The photo wasn't Tara after all. This twist, however, did not close the door on Tara's case. Instead, it flung it wide open. The AI discovery led investigators to a now-deceased man who had frequented Tara's bike path. The link? DNA found on Tara's cassette tape, preserved all these years. The suspect, whose name remains sealed by court order, had a documented connection to both Tara Calico and Michael Henley, a chilling overlap that pointed directly to the perpetrator. At the emotional peak of the saga, Sheriff Denise Vigil addressed the public with voice trembling. "We have identified the individual responsible." Although the suspect had died in 2020, the sheriff's office announced plans to file charges posthumously. This act, while symbolic, was designed to finally give Tara's family the closure they deserved. Sheriff Vigil emphasized, "This is not a hoax. We have physical evidence." For the first time in 3 decades, Tara's father and remaining family members knew who took her. The infamous photo, long considered the key to solving the mystery, turned out to be a red herring. But it led investigators down the right path. With the case now closed in all but name, the community has begun to heal. Tara's mother's grave, once a place of sorrow and unanswered questions, has found peace. Her father's lifelong search, which spanned 36 agonizing years, has finally reached its end. The Polaroid mystery, once the most famous unsolved missing persons puzzle in America, is solved. The killer, though dead, will be named by prosecutors, ensuring that Tara Calico's story ends not with a question mark, but with justice. In the end, technological advances cracked the case where human intuition and endless searches could not. AI facial recognition, DNA analysis, and relentless police work have delivered answers. And at last, Tara Calico's voice is heard. For her family, for Valencia County, and for all who followed her story, the nightmare is over. Justice, though delayed, is finally served.
If you like diving into mysteries and true crime, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so you don't miss our next investigation.